Get up, stretch out, get on the floor. Hot dog, diggity dog, hot dog, diggity dog. Spread your way, what you waiting for? Get up, stretch out, get on the floor.
My. Can you seriously believe that this is actually happening again? Welcome to Unjustified, where we always cover the truth, the facts, the good, the bad, the ugly, on an unbiased and sometimes very unpopular opinion. If you're not already a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe now and hit the notification bell, and that way you will receive all of our upcoming videos. Thank you so much for being here, and we do hope you enjoy today's video. And co-workers watched Chris Watts get more and more unhappy with his life before family murders. A contractor who worked with the convicted murderer tells People about his demeanor leading up to the killings. Now, this was published by Steve Helling on October the 13th, 2022 at 5:30 p.m. People magazine is a very mainstream media tabloid. They've been around for decades. So thank goodness it's not just me. Now, some of the Team Unjustified OG members may very well remember back in 2020. And I had a guy come on my panel.
You know, the Chris I knew died, but, you know, he was like I'm getting a little teary-eyed. He was like the perfect father, the perfect husband. Never heard him raise his voice. He would cuss every now and again, like only around the guys.
And he said that he worked with Chris Watts at Anadarko. Not only that, he also claimed that he was personal friends with Shanann, Chris, and their neighbor, saying that he lived on Steeple Rock Drive.
I would watch him, and I'd always laugh at him because he would be walking the girls around in the wagon, and he would walk for hours and hours around the neighborhood. I live on Steeple Rock, and so I'd always see him, and me and my kids would go walking or whatever, but we'd see Chris every day after work, you know, and we work, you know, sometimes 12 hours a day, sometimes 14-hour days. But
so I needed him to show me something to prove to me that he really did know them, right? I felt awkward saying, hey, I need your driver's license, social security card, birth certificate, all this kind of thing, because, you know, that's kind of personal. I don't feel that way anymore. Before I'll put anybody on my panel that claims they know somebody in a crime case, they will prove themselves. I learned my lesson. At the time, I felt awkward to ask for that. So he sent me this.
You know, we'd go talk to Nicole about what pipe needed to be scheduled to be moved off and whatnot and what have you. And I will show you her office where I've seen Chris Watts talking to her in the office. Survey Ranch is just right back that way. But yeah, I'm gonna show you guys Nicole Kessinger's office. Give me 1 minute here. You guys, this here is Nicole Kessinger's office, or ex-office, the office she used to occupy, where I've walked in many times and seen Chris in here, where I've had to come in here and talk to Nicole about pipe going in, pipe going out. But yep, this was Nicole's office.
Well, that was pretty convincing to me. You know, not to mention he was in my comments. What really sealed the deal was when someone else commented under him, and they were talking back and forth to each other. And this other person supposedly lived on Steeple Rock Drive as well. And it's like, oh yeah, I know you. You know, you're the one that lives so-and-so. And he's like, yeah, that's me. And I was like, dang, this guy's for real. He said, well, I'll tell you what, do you want me to come on your panel? And I can tell some people some things in K that would just really shock y'all. And I was like, okay, sure, that sounds great. So I did. I brought him on my panel.
it was weird because usually Chris don't come in the office. We only go in the office to get our assignments, but Chris was there for like 5 minutes, and then he was like, I'm going to go check that leak out at 19, which is server 19.
But thank goodness it's not me this time. It didn't take us long after he was on panel to know that he was completely full of shit. I had creators coming to me saying, you got to vet people. And no, I shouldn't say creators, or coming to me. There was one creator that actually did a live stream talking about how I should vet people better. And it was kind of upsetting at the time because, again, I was new. And I really respected this creator a lot, and I still do. But, you know, He's had a person on since he called me out for not vetting people. That not only took him, but took many channels and many subscribers, and they were believing her. But either way, I'm not getting into that right now. Let's get into this article and let's call it out for what it is. It's all lies. I believe that Steve from People Magazine should have vetted before he paid this faker for this bogus story. Hello, hello, hello. Step right up and you will hear from the newest in the Chris Watts case. The clout-chasing clown. Another co-worker. Here we go.
Get up, stretch out, get on the floor.
But those who worked with Watts began noticing a change. This according to Brian Spence, a contractor colleague of Watts for several years.
If this guy worked with Chris for several years and was that close to him, then why wasn't he interviewed? Why isn't Brian mentioned anywhere in the discovery? Well, define several years. Chris went to work for Anadarko in 2015, so he only worked there 3 years. Wouldn't that be considered a few? But what is several years? Please define that. That is important in this case.
That he watched Watts become more and more unhappy, going from a friendly guy to one who was withdrawn.
He watched Chris get more and more unhappy, from friendly to withdrawn. Chris has always been withdrawn. He's notorious for that.
He saw Watts lose his temper over little workplace annoyances, adding, quote, he had an irritable side with the contractors. He could be combative.
He is literally the first person that has ever said that. Be combative? Chris is not combative. If anything, he's quite the opposite. He's a wimp.
The reason behind the sudden change is unclear, but Spence notes that Watts was no longer in a rush to get home after work.
We know that's not true. His truck had GPS. He had to go straight home after work. He got Shanann's Lexus, and he went and picked up the girls after he got home from work. So there again, that's another lie.
He started attending more happy hours with the contractors, often one of the last ones to leave.
So Chris was spending more happy hours with the people he worked with? Wait a minute. It's already been confirmed by people he works with that they couldn't even get him to go play cards or whatever, anything with them. And he wanted to stay out later and later. He had to get home, pick up the kids, and the kids were in bed by 6:30, 7 p.m. at the latest. And he is the one that got them ready for bed and read them their stories. So there's no way in hell he was out later and later every night. Shanann wouldn't have had that shit anyway.
Another thing that few of Watts' colleagues knew, he was having an affair with a coworker who thought he was already separated.
She probably did. Shanann was gone for 6 weeks, so that technically is a separation. But now he's throwing in there that, subtly, he knows Nicole. This is another troll that has been paid to lie and sell this fake story to People Magazine. And obviously people did not vet this guy.
Spence says he wishes he had picked up on the warning signs, admitting Watts was obviously in pain, but that he didn't know it would end this way. He adds, if I had any idea, I would have pulled him aside and said something, but he hid it. No one knew.
You would have pulled him aside and said something. No one knew. No, everybody knew he was different. Everybody noticed this change in him. So what do y'all think about that? How obviously bogus, ridiculous, and clout chasing is that? Like, this guy doesn't even know as much about the case as the guy on my channel did. This is ridiculous, and I just hope anyone new coming into this case does not read this article and find it to be the truth, because it is complete clout chasing and total lies. I tell you what, Brian, if you do see this video, come show me some proof. Show me proof of anything that you said when you sold this story to People Magazine. I don't believe you can. Thank you all so much for listening, and until next time, this is Unjustified. Thank you so much for watching, and do not forget to subscribe, like, share, and leave us a comment below on your thoughts of this video. And until next time, this is Unjustified.